We've got a new arrival in the hospital which has become sort of a firm favourite with everyone, and he's a little great crested brood chick, and you don't see them very often, but we haven't actually had one before, so it's quite a novelty. And you can see he's quite different to the adult. He's got these very, very definite zebra stripes down his neck and across his body. And when they're young, they basically sit on the back of the parent, sort of having a ride. And one of the adults will go off, dive for food, tiny little fish and things, and they'll come back and feed the babies on the back. In the last century, great crested brood became extremely rare because basically they were just picked off, hunted for the use of their feathers in ladies' hats. So the populations were absolutely decimated. But through conservation, we've actually managed to get the population in Britain to about 8,000 adult birds through the year. And he has got a very strange patch on his head. You can't really see it particularly well at the moment, but right in the centre of his head there, just there, there's a little pale white patch, a pinky patch on his head. And it changes colour, and sometimes it can be absolutely bright red. I'm not 100% sure what it's actually to do with, but it seems to go very, very red when he wants food. So I wonder if it's a sort of signalling thing when they're sitting on the back of parents, that bright red means I'm the hungriest. And as you can see now as he's eating, it's gone nice and pale. Right, he's had his food, and what I'm going to do is just let him have a little swim. Not for long, because he isn't actually waterproof yet, and they get wet quite quickly. But you can actually see, they are diving birds. And you can see what he'll do is to try to dive under the water. And you can see how far back his legs are on his body. Their feet literally act as propellers at the back. So they're on the surface one moment, and the next minute straight down, diving underneath the water, and they can dive quite deeply. And that's where they actually catch the fish, and they'll even feed underwater as well. He's actually getting wet quite quickly. So what we do is literally short swims, dry him off, and then he starts to preen himself, which is all good natural behaviour. And normally in the wild, obviously, he'd pop straight back on to mum or dad's back and dry up in the nice downy feathers under their wings.
Outside the hospital, things are far more hectic, and the crowds have recognised one of our celebrity supporters. Well, we've had a real special surprise today here at our open day. Somebody's turned up, we weren't expecting him, and it's the one and only Pete from Big Brother, and he's come to see us, and he's never seen a particular animal, so we're not going to tell him what it is. We're going to take him to the hospital, and he's going to see something he's never seen before when he's finished signing autographs, because he's very famous. I tried to look as much like Pete as I could to make him feel at home, so I've had a little hair extension on the back, because he thinks it makes me look very trendy. For an old man, he said, for an old man you don't look too bad. So it's a bit of a compliment, but only just. Yeah. Right, let's go and have a look. Follow me to the hospital. We're going to set that way.
Did you hear about what I'm doing? It was Gemma. She went. She gave like two grand charity to this place after selling the story. So she gave the money to here. And then they invited us down. Good, isn't it?
You come here, it's nice and quiet. Well, Pete has never seen one of these, and I actually, because it's a very tiny one, I'm not sure he's going to know what it is. We'll find out.
Oh.
Don't start on that with me. Now look, you should know what it is, because it's not quite as tiny as it was, but look at that. Isn't that really cute?
Oh. I've never seen one of those.
Look, put your hands up. They're very tiny. Aren't they cute? They do tiny little pipes. It's probably about 3 or 4 weeks old now. They're just beginning to get a little bit harder, but they're still very soft. We're going to see the adult one later on. They are quite cute. At this age, they do green poo. So if you ever see bright green poo on the ground, it's really lime green. That's a baby hedgehog. They're so cute. Look, their eyes are just opening now. It never worked with children, animals, or pigs. What?
That's what my hair used to be.
It's been all down my hand now. So you just shouldn't work with animals. Is it as bad being with Pete? Is he as bad as this?
He's a bit more house trained.
Is he? Neither have seen the description. I'm hoping that this visit will inspire Pete to support our cause and spread the message to the younger generation. The next animal should clinch it, as it's certainly the cutest of all our young orphans. Look, come on, sweetheart. Hey, darling. Are you going to be friendly? Are you going to bite Daddy?
No, don't bite Daddy. No, don't bite Daddy. No, that's not very friendly, is it? Look at that.
Isn't that cute? Look. Isn't he cute? He's very tiny. They should really be about 4 times the size of this at this time of year. But we can't get him to go with the other badges for some reason, and we get lots of badges together. They all come at different times, they all go together. This one just didn't like it at all, so we're having to keep him separate for the moment. But he's so sweet. He's just beginning to start to eat now. They're so cute, aren't they? We'll probably poo down with short.
Not a name, no?
I don't know what they call it. They all give them names. This year we've named most of the badgers by cereals. But I try not to name them because they're going back to a while ago. I try to keep them, but it's very cute. I mean, porridge. Porridge. For you, we'll call him porridge. Pete wants to call you porridge. So you've got no choice at all now.
Porridge the badger.
Hopefully, when he puts on weight, Porridge will join the rest of the cubs in the artificial set, which is where Sarah's gone to check that they've not been disturbed by the noise of the crowds.
Right, well, I'm hoping that